Hello! Welcome back to the Game Garage. We have a new game, and it's also small. So Tiny Epic Quest, just cutting right to the chase. This is a game I actually have not played. I backed it way back in the past, got all the stretch goals, was excited for it, it arrived, have not actually played it. Have read the rule book, I think 3 different times, have learned the game, learned the solo game, and I'm finally getting to the table because of this channel. So maybe it's helpful to someone out there, but at the very least, it's helpful to me. Because one thing I love about solo gaming is sometimes, with some games, you can use solo play as a way to kind of really kick the tires on the rules to make sure you know what you're talking about before you rope anyone else into it. And my wife and my time is so precious when the kids are asleep, which is a rare commodity these days, that it's just like an absolute tragedy when I go to teach a game and I don't 100% know what I'm talking about. So I, as often as possible, want to avoid that from happening. So here we are. Also, from me watching other videos, reading through the rule book, looking through the stuff, I think it should be a pretty fun game just to play myself. Speaking of which, let's get it set up. Boom! Okay, so here's the setup. Quick peek behind the curtain of how sausage is made on this channel. It is now November 14th in Minnesota, and I believe the temperature is a balmy 38. It's up from what it was the past few days. So putting all these items on this board was a not insignificant task for me to do, with my fingers. So this will be a fun game, a little mini game to go along playing Tiny Epic Quest. My Tiny Epic Quest of putting these tiny epic items onto my item meeples. But so real quick before I get to the rules, not all Tiny Epic games do kind of balloon up like this, but this one definitely does. It is not a small table footprint. But that's cool. I am appreciative of that. I know that there are many people for whom the tiny epicness of them is not necessarily like their favorite part of the games. So fear not, this one takes up just about as much room as Root does when all set up. Okay, so we have the setup here. I'm not going to go over the full rules or the full setup. I will leave it to you, the viewer, to go check out the rules video here, which is a watch it played video, kind of gonna turn it on its head. Usually Rodney sends people off to learn the solo rules on their own. I'm doing the opposite. You can go learn the regular rules on your own. I'm just gonna focus on the solo differences. Now, obviously that's kind of in jest, because this teaching video is gonna roll right into a playthrough that I'll kind of narrate as I go. But yeah, so it's set up for one person. So the differences for a single player, first of all, make sure that your magic track and your spell library card, right here it says 2 to 4, make sure you change it to 1, because all these up here are going to be different. Again, I'll explain some of the main rules as how they apply to the solo one. The main difference is in a multiplayer game, you share the damage dealt by the goblin results on the dice, starting with the person who rolled, and then goes around the table, which would be just super brutal if you were single player and just taking all that damage yourself. So this track is adjusted in that way. So it brings the danger level of that a little bit down, so it's not just totally impossible. One other thing, not only do you obviously not need the first player token, but the first player token actually has a purpose, which is to remind you whether or not somebody completed a quest, which then takes it off of the list, and then you move it down and take the top one off the deck. No matter whether or not I complete a quest every turn, I am going to discard the rightmost one in the solo game, and then draw a new one. So I don't need this for any of its purposes, so it goes over there. The other changes to the solo mode, when we are typically, these movement cards would all be lined up. Each person would choose one, and then everyone have a chance to do it, and then it would get flipped down, and then you go by that until you've done 4 things. So you still do 4 movements, but the way it works, I will, without looking at it, because, you know, you can tell what they are from both sides. It's one of those situations. So just without looking at it, I will draw 2. I choose one of these. I complete the movement. I draw another one from the top. I choose one of those. So it limits your options, which is kind of a clever and easy way to simulate the fact that when it's your turn to choose the movement, you might not have your option of all 5 of the things. So little change there. Obviously, I don't have other players to go against, and this is not a game where there's an automa opponent to go against. It is just me versus myself. In the rule book, it has difficulty levels, so I'll be doing peasant, 40 points. So it's kind of interesting. I wasn't quite sure why they would say choose one before you play, as opposed to play a game and then see what you get. And I think the reason is you're going to take some bigger risks if you know that you're going for a higher victory point goal that you otherwise might not do. You might take the more conservative route if you're only going for 40, like I will be, since it's, you know, my first game. Let's see how I do at the easy level first. Then last, like I said, in the night phase resolution, one of these is going to fall off no matter what, no matter if I completed one or not. And also, typically at the end of night phase, any passive goblins get turned to aggressive side. But in this case, only 3 passive goblins will do that. And I get to choose which ones happen. So it's kind of a little bit tricky to see, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goblins. And they're always going to, you know, if I kill a goblin, they're always going to poop out another one. But the ones who are there that are neutral or passive will get flipped over to aggressive, but I get to choose the 3 of them. Besides that, the game plays as per usual, 5 rounds, see how many points you can get, and that's that. So let's give it a shot. So no gameplay after this. That will be coming later. It's been sitting around in my to-do list for far too long because I did a whole game with a couple of pretty critical rules that I messed up. Nothing with the rules for the solo only game. They were all just like generic rules. One that you can go to the dungeons for both the reward at the end, like a special item, and a legendary item. Was not doing that. I was doing it either or, which is why I thought it was so impossible to get up to 40 points, which is the lowest level that you can do. I was also for a little while just like killing goblins with one hit as opposed to actually doing damage to them one at a time, which neither of those were like terrible, but they were both, you know, kind of just frustrating to have in the video. I'm trying my best not to have those in the videos anymore, so you know what, I'm just gonna put the little teach video up. It's short, it's sweet. There will be a gameplay coming up because as much as it is still a beat your own score thing, I do like how this game plays, so it'll get to the table again. There is also a fan-made automa version for solo play that I may also be showing on the channel later on, but another reason why I want to show this off is because between then and now, well, first of all, Dune Imperium, which will definitely be coming back to the table, My wife and I are playing for the first time tonight. Very excited about that. But between the teach video and now, I got a box insert to put everything into its own special little place, which is just super neat. In each one, you have obviously your item meeples, but also you're starting your health and your energy, your magic guy, your max things, but also your legendary items just contained in that tray. You have your space for all your goblins, your dice, your items, your special things. This would be where your item tray would go, but I don't know, I was just kind of, as cool as that sort of was, I think in amongst a number of things that people have called gimmicky about, you know, tiny epic Kickstarter things, that I feel like is the most gimmicky thing that I've come in contact with. It was just really frustrating to get some of these tiny little items, you know, into the item holder and then out of it when you wanted to. So I'm just gonna keep them in there. And then a little spot for storing cards and the little mushroom guys. Then the bigger cards go right on top, and rulebook and lid. Super handy. Link will be down below to the, what do you call that thing again? Etsy, the Etsy store where I got it. So I'll be showing that off when this does eventually make it back to the table. We will see you guys then. And for those who are excited about more Dune Imperium gameplay, you'll be seeing more of this soon as well.